Almost there. Thank you.
All right, Joey from Santa Rosa and Sarah from Seattle, Washington.
Alright, cool. Oh, thanks.
Yep, jump the gate.
I'm just gonna give a brief, or try to give a brief rundown of the 2023 Humboldt Marathon and showcase another hat that I haven't displayed. Run mountains, bruh. I guess I'll just try to do these more in the timeline of the events of my last marathon. So if you are following me and looked at my shakeout run short, I tapered like 2 weeks pretty hard. It was mostly just riding. I'm doing some indoor riding with the way the weather's been with the rain, and trying to keep the pressure off the legs a little bit after that 100 plus mile week, which I think was a big mistake. But I am glad I got that itch out of my system. Now I can run freely how I want to. So, but I think with how much pain I went through hitting that big milestone that I dedicated to Pine Nut. Follow me on Strava, Joey Moselle, Santa Rosa, vegan. The little vegan symbol is a little anarchy symbol there too, but which I'll probably have to describe what that is eventually. Anyway, I'm tapering, doing a lot of indoor training Zwift. This thing has been great. Zwifting, it's a lot of fun. Still trying to get my Neon bike in the challenge on Zwift. I'm like 73% of the way through. If anyone knows what that is, that's cycles. You already know what I'm talking about, so I'm doing that. So I got like over a quarter of the way to go. And I do my last run before I go to Humboldt, which was like 4.5 miles. I wanted my body to feel a little more of the speed before the marathon, to like not go into too much of slumber mode, get my body used to still a little bit of speed. So I pushed it in the 7 range for pace, 7 minutes a mile, and not like low. I can't remember what it is, but anyway, I just figured out look at this, the Adidas Adios Adi 07 on there that I've been complaining about, and my legs felt better because it was a little while since the 100-mile week, but I noticed throughout that 100-mile week how badly my feet were hurting, like on the bottoms, which I think were pushing up, especially with a lot of different new shoes that I was breaking in. And the pressure I was feeling, like my feet were getting like really painful, especially on the bottoms, and they were pushing, I think, on the top, like pressure, and causing some swelling, which I felt on that run a little bit towards the end, especially on like those runs, like when your feet kind of like, especially with those newer shoes. I don't know, like I think I have sometimes a problem with like curled toes hitting the ground, which can kind of push your feet up into the the upper of the shoe, and um, could possibly cause bone spurs. So I did have some bumps that were irritated on the top of, or the metatarsals, so the top of my feet, but it was like the left foot. 2 days got removed from running before the marathon, and it was the day, my vacation days to go to Humboldt. I wanted to at least get a kind of easy, slower paced run for every day I was there. And so the first day I was there, I was just bathing my foot because I woke up and the top left of my foot was like a bump, kind of right here, and it's still kind of there. And I don't know. I've never really paid attention to how my feet look all the time, so like I didn't know how unusual that was, and it was in pain, and I was like, "Are you kidding me? Like, am I losing my mind? Do I just have paranoia?" Paranoia is, and this happens to me and like everyone before a marathon race day. You put all this effort in, blood, sweat, and tears, and before and then the week of, before as you're tapering down, you start thinking you're sick, you're injured. That's why they call it paranoia. You're like paranoid. Paranoia is, and I was like, no, this is real. I like to trust myself, and I was kind of really stressed, and so I drove there with my shoe off because it was in like kind of throbbing pain, and so it's like a 4.5 hour drive to Humboldt to where I was going, and got to Myers Inn, the Myers Flat Town, Myers Inn Lodge or whatever, and I gotta say, I do not recommend that place to stay. For the event, he charges, I swear he quoted me $300 when I booked, and then he charged me $650 for 2 nights. And I was like, oh my god, whatever. Like, they clearly were kind of had their issues. There was like, they kind of seemed junky-ish, and I was just like, whatever, if it makes you feel like bigger or whatever. Or apparently you need more than me. They get that extra $50 for an already ridiculously steep $300 a night. So it's like $325 a night, and I would rather have been at a Motel 6. The place smelled like cat pee and cat litter, and it was just, the Humboldt's kind of trashy. There's not a lot of stuff to do there for work. In the capital system, got that we're born into, you gotta work within the confines that you're in, and so I do feel a little sympathy going, like I did in my shakeout run. I was going through the neighborhoods and stuff the day after, and a lot of broken down cars in people's driveways and stuff like that. Just like kind of just very run me of Kelseyville a little bit. Just let's just say Humboldt they seemed very kind of hard time in it. A lot of the people there. So I definitely kind of understand that. Being from a similar area, Monterey is like the same. It's like the same kind of atmosphere of, it's beautiful area, not a lot to do, and kind of a lot of hard time, and that's just how that place is. It reminds me of Monterey kind of. Anyway, I wish things didn't have to be that way. I wish there was more to community involvement and growth, that people could have community gardens and food, yada yada. But anyway, back to what I was talking about. so I'm getting set up, and there's no fridge in the room at the Myers Inn flat, or the Myers Inn. It's supposed to be a bread and breakfast, so there's no refrigerator in the room. So I'm vegan, and I made like all this food for the 3 days I was going to be there, and a lot of it was needing to go in a fridge, so there's no fridge, but he was like, oh, you can put your food in the fridge down here, there's a kitchen, yada yada. And it was just like the fridge and the freezer were just packed to the brim with just like garbage, junk food, like bloodmouth, carnist, cruel, corporate swill food, and it was just like the giornos and burgers, like just a bunch of frozen crap, and just straight planet eating trash. Anyway, so there's like no, I made this like little compartment in the back that I makeshifted to put my bag of salad, the sprouts, one of my energy drinks, and that's really a lot of room for. And then I had my cooler bag in the room with the rest of the food that I had ice in. I'm so happy I brought that, and there wasn't much to do in the town to like buy from. There's like a little grocery store across the street that's just got your status quo bloodmouth garbage, stuff like that, just corporate swill. There's a few decent things, vegan options, but like it is meh, and very meh. And so I pretty much just kept having to refill multiple times of the day my bag of food with ice from that store. So it was just a shit show. And so for foot recovery, that metatarsal area, like kind of over the top bone right here, I guess, which runs along my toe bone, my big toe, and I was so stressed out. So like mentally I got this going on. I got there, set up, trying to put the least amount of pressure on my foot as possible, and so I guess the other weird thing though, before I go on, is I did take my first ever like ice bath. It was just like the lower half, like my legs and stuff. Kevin from Echelon recommended it for to get rid of inflammation and stuff like that, and it helps kind of rejuvenate you, whatever. And there's a lot of actual peer-reviewed science on this. Like it is actually legit, especially for endurance athletes. And Epsom salt baths, I will take every once in a while, but it's kind of more anecdotal. Like from what I've seen, there's not a ton of evidence that says it helps with recovery. So, but ice baths, if you do your research, like do have a lot of peer-reviewed like studies and stuff on them. They're pretty helpful. But if you take them all the time, it's not as good for you, because there is a reason why your body does have that inflammation. Like you don't want to totally get rid of all that stuff. There is a natural healing process. So you shouldn't be doing that like every night. Those ice baths are actually, it's good to take every once in a while, whatever, but research shows it's not good to do every day or every other day, probably. But every once in a while, yeah, it's whatever. So anyway, I'm getting ice all the time, and to help with my feet, I'm doing just all this quick research on this. Like, it's crazy as a runner. Like, a lot of the injuries that pop up that I'm like, don't want to hamper me, don't want to set me back in my training. I'm constantly like looking stuff up of how am I gonna fix this? What can I start buying now? Like ordering in my house, and have those like Amazon drones bomb my house with recovery products and yada yada and glucosamine and stuff like that. And so icing really helps. I can say from personal experience, like it does really help. I highly suggest you ice. So I would fill the tub at least enough with the cold water and put a bunch of ice in it, and I would ice my feet for like the suggested amount of time, which was I usually try to keep it in there for at least like 10 minutes or so to 20, and it would help. alleviate some of the pain and swelling. And I was legitimately considering not running the marathon, but I also wanted to run it for Peeny Weeny Pine Nut. So I was like, I'm already here, spent all this money. Like, I did bring my road bike just in case I didn't run the marathon. I was like, you know what? I'm still up here. I'm gonna at least do a shakeout run to test my foot out the next day before. See how my foot reacts, and if it's not too bad, I'm just gonna try to run the marathon and at least run a decent time, and get my medal. You know, but if I just bail on the race, I'm just gonna ride all of the Avenue of the Giants on my road bike and just have a fun time, like a really fun ride. Like, I'm already here, like on vacation. I spent all this money in this just shit show of a town, so at Myers Flat, that I don't want to go to waste. I've put so much effort in. I've already spent all this money. I'm gonna try to enjoy it somewhat, because I do suggest at least going to the next town before or after Myers, at like a cheaper place to go to, because it is not worth the steep price. Not even close. Like, it was just not even that clean, and no fridge in the room. Like, and just the one fridge downstairs is just packed full of crap. Like, it is just, I will never be going there again. So anyway, I was like, you know what, screw it, I'm gonna run the marathon. And if I have to drop out, I'm gonna drop out if the pain is that bad. And luckily, things went pretty well. So anyway, I woke. I'm pretty much spending the vacation time there, rehabbing my foot, and taking it easy, icing it constantly. And my trainer, Whiskey Martial Arts Giovanni, I called him up because he's a deep massage therapist who has a lot of knowledge on injuries and human body. I mean, he's like, I can't like really tell you about it because I'm not a doctor, but you know, this is what I think. And he said it could just be a stress knot. Try to very lightly stretch it and massage it. So I kind of stretched it out like this way, kind of for lightly. He said don't go too hard, and that did seem to help actually quite a bit in doing light massaging. So shout out to Giovanni. Thanks, my ninja, on that. Thanks for the advice. And you know, he was telling me like pain happens for a reason. Like, it's your body pressing against you to not push it too much further. But I made the decision to take a risk and run injured, and I was fine. Fine enough. I'll get to that. So, anything else I'm missing from my wretched squalor at the Maya's Inn stay? One thing as well, it was elevating my foot. I was elevating my foot a lot while I was there as well. So I would try to like play on my phone, read a little bit, and I was playing the Nintendo Switch here and there. So I just beat Link's Awakening remastered, and that was really fun actually. I'm glad I brought that. It's the first time I've ever brought the Switch out handheld, like outside of my dwelling, and my squalor, and and I would even sleep every night with a bunch of pillows that I would take off the chairs and stuff, and the extra couple pillows on the bed, and I just made like a little pillow elevation station, and I slept with my left foot up, both my feet up, but mostly the left one, you know, a little higher. So it was not the most comfortable. I did not get the greatest night's sleep, and I'd probably be lucky to have gotten 5 hours of sleep the night before. I can never sleep well before a marathon, as many people can't, and I don't know how I got such horrible sleep before Sacramento CIM and did so well. But then I started panicking as well, like before I was supposed to wake up, set my alarm at so the race starts at 7:45 a.m. And they even say on the website, like, oh, get there a little early because, you know, parking spots, da-da-da, fill up. And, oh my, not God. I, started, like, also panicking because, like, this hotel didn't give me, like, a checkout time, but it's an event. They are supposed to give you a late checkout, and I'm pretty sure he said that originally, but I didn't really know, so I was like, I better get, like, I didn't really, like, trust that place, so I started panicking in the morning. I was like, I need to get some of the stuff in my car during the race while I park, because, like, I don't even, like, it just seemed, the place seemed a little sketchy, and I just wanted my stuff in the car and out of there, so I at least got all the valuables packed up in the car, and then I just was like, you know, I want to get everything done, so I, like, woke up before the race, and went up and down the stairs, like, dozens of times, like, I think my foot felt pretty good. Like, I was, like, kind of zipping up the stairs up and down, and look him go. And so that took me a while. I was, like, all frenetic in my thoughts, like, it was just chaos. But I was, like, you know, having to calm myself down, because I also know the stress is not gonna do anything. It just makes things way worse, and it's just gonna keep hampering my time. You gotta have that Bruce Lee mentality, like, must be watcher, and you know, when shit goes down, the calmest person in the room is the one you want to be more afraid of, not the person, like, freaking out and screaming and, like, talking like crazy and, you know, going off the rails. So that is something I've been trying to really implement for a while, is keep the stress to minimal. Easier said than done. I can get a little stressed out, a lot of stressed out. Like, man, I was freaking out those couple of days. I was, like, about to cry at one point because of my foot, because I want to do it for Pine Nut. You know, genuinely love that dog. So part of my family, my pack, and so yeah, it's okay to cry. Put down the ego. With all your insecure people, maybe you think it's not okay to cry, but, you know, fuck that, bite me. Anyway, people that have to go around, like, eating alpha male pills and calling themselves alpha male are the most insecure people. So, yeah, kick rocks with all that. And so I'm getting all my stuff packed up. I'm drinking my energy drink, and I'm like, I'm gonna take a couple ibuprofen and smash my half the energy drink down with what did I have in the morning? Like a protein bar, because I ate a lot the night before. You know, I had mostly pasta and veggies. You don't want too much fiber to break down the body. You want, like, your quick carbs, whatever. But it's not. And I had 2 smoothies the 2 previous days, so I'm trying to eat, like, nutrients and a lot of carbs, a lot of healthy stuff to get my body, like, going. And so I drive there pretty in a hurry, because, like, you know, I got my bike in the car, I got all the stuff in the car. It took me a while. The only thing I had left in the hotel was some food and the food in the fridge, and so the guy left his number on the front desk, so I texted him and let him know I was going to come back for that. And that's all I had in the room. I was like, you know, if something happens where it's like, oh, you missed the checkout, we threw your food away, big whatever, like, at least I didn't have anything else in the room. That's all it was my half iced bags of food, and so I was all ready to go. I did my earthly duties in the bathroom before. So I think pretty much all I would have had to have done is pee before the marathon. Like, I knew I would not have had to have gone number 2, like I usually do before a marathon when I'm driving there, or having the bus like CIM, or the Uber like San Francisco. So I was, like, roaring to go. I would have been there 10 minutes early before the race starts. And I'll probably have to drop a picture in here. I was texting people, or here, or wherever. I'll probably maybe fill up the screen with the picture. the traffic is so horrendous at Avenue of the Giants. It is so just like not acceptable. So I'm having all my caffeine. I had my ibuprofen like on my way there, like right before I got in the car, thinking like, oh, this will kick in within like 10 minutes, 15 minutes when I'm going to start racing the race, the marathon. And there is just, the second you get off the freeway, there is just traffic for like, I don't even know, it's 2 miles to the parking lot, like a big old bumpy parking lot where like I have my car a little lowered and it's like a little more race profile, like tires, like nothing crazy. I don't have like a Type R Honda Civic hatchback, but I got the Sport hatchback lowered, and it, it's just not the best for that. And so it just was very slow on that beach parking lot, just full tons of rocks and like bumps and stuff. So it was just, this is a nightmare. And like, yeah, the second you get off the freeway, you're in like just backed up in traffic, and you were just sitting there, and everyone's like panicking because like, I'm like, holy crap, and at least half the people are not going to be racing on time. We sat in traffic for over an hour. I didn't even start the race till 9:03. Was when I was like messaging a few people, kind of when I was like, all right, I'm going now, 9:03. I think is when I exactly went through 9:03 and 9:04, right through the entrance. So you're supposed to be chipped. So I'm sitting in traffic for over an hour, and I even had my foot up, alleviating the pressure on my feet. And in traffic that I took a picture of, because like I'm just sitting there, caffeine's wasting, starting to have to pee, and there goes some of the effects of my ibuprofen for swelling, whatever, and we're just not moving. I keep rechecking the GPS, see how much closer we are to the parking lot that I'm trying to guesstimate on the map on the GPS, and yeah, over an hour waiting in traffic, finally get parked, and then to run. So, and then one of the ladies directing people to park down at the beach was like, oh, your race doesn't start, you're chipped till you go through. So I was like, well, at least, yeah, obviously there's that, like, because it marks you for how many times you go through the checkpoints. And so I'm kind of pinpointing that out for a reason, as I'll tell you later at the end, of how lazy, disorganized the people who organize the Humboldt Avenue of Giants Marathon is. So, and another side note is this year in 2023, there was like rock mudslides and stuff that tore up the road, so there's a lot of construction being done, so they had to change the Avenue of the Giants this year in 2023. Typically, you go, what is it, like 6.55 one way and back, and then 6.55 another way and back. So this year was just like 6.55 miles, so it's pretty much 6.5 miles one way and back, and then another 6.55 the same exact way and back again. So you're really just doing like a 10K out, little over, like 0.3 miles more than 10K. So you're doing 6.5 miles out, a little over 6.5 miles out, 6.5 miles back, and you double that. And which I'll post the run at the end of this video, like I usually do on Strava. It's decent elevation. It's about 700 feet from what I tracked, and gained elevation. But it's known as a faster course, like faster. It's not like the fastest or anything. But it's a good shot at it. Give it a crack. Give it a real crack, rip of a race. And I felt really good on the first 10K, but started to fade. Once I hit mile 11, so I got my second best PR for my half marathon, because I did run a sub 130 in San Francisco on track, a 128 25. I was feeling really good that day, the Vaporfly 2s. And so, yeah, I really like the Saucony Endorphin Pro 3s on this race. I wish I could have ran them not injured. I'll probably run Santa Rosa with them and do some more speed workouts with them and stuff like that in the future after I recover from this race and my injury. More on that later. So it was a beautiful race. I just tried to enjoy myself, and I told myself I'm not going to PR. And the one annoying thing is a lot of people were running in the middle of the road that weren't even like running. You know, that you have a lot of the people that go and just kind of like putts it, and they're just like walking a lot of it, which is cool, whatever. Like as long as you finish in your allotted time. So there's 6K runners. I mean 6K. There's 10K runners. They have a 10K, half marathon, and marathon all wrapped up in this race. So rules of the road: faster runners on the left in the middle of the road, slower runners on the right. Like, come on, people, you should know this. People put a lot of work and effort into this to try to like qualify for Boston and PR or whatever like goals they have. Like, it's not a, we're not out there like just whatever, man, like just putzing around, just farting around, just kind of farting around, looking at the trees. Like, just if you're a slower runner, just move to the right, leave a gap for faster runners. And there were some times like it was so crowded, I'm like running through these tiny little gaps to get through like these people that are just taking up most of the road. I'm like, all right, looks like I'm running between it. So that had to happen for a lot of people. And then obviously as the 10K runners finished, and a lot of people that did get there super early, less and less people the more laps you did. So it was easier to run by. But even later on in the race, I'm like, why are there still people walking like directly in the middle? Like, anyway, but 11 miles in, my left foot started really hurting, and I was like, oh no, this is just gonna probably get worse the longer I go. And then it just kind of went away. It's weird how that can happen. It's like your body can just like pinpoint when you're, and put aside the pain until later. So I was running and I ran through the pain, and it wasn't that bad, but you could feel it here and there pretty harshly. And as the race got longer, like a lot of the joints that were hurting while I was running, like doing too much in that 100-mile week, like my knees and stuff were starting to feel it. And it's not my cardio that is the problem. It's just the it is just the pain. Like my body is like screaming to back off. So I'm always trying to tweak and experiment before my next race. Like, what am I gonna do? And I think I have a pretty good game plan for the future. Anyway, that's what holds me back. So, but I still did pretty well. My Strava clocked my 26.2 at a 3:12:56. But I think when I re-looked at the race, since the trees are so tall, anyway, here in Northern California, the Pacific West Coast, Pacific Northwest, it has the biggest trees in the world, the tallest trees in the world, the redwoods. So they're just ginormous, and they can kind of block the GPS. And so sometimes during some of those openings, like your GPS will try to pull out a little bit, I guess. And so I think it may have made me technically a little faster. And so by the time I finished the race, in the anomaly year of the road damage course change, got my medal. I was pretty satisfied with the time I got. So I ran the my second best marathon at a 3, pretty much 13. But then I get this email as I'm finishing up, getting my medal, and my free banana. I get the email like later on as I'm driving back saying, or once I drove back, I was check my email because it was like from, or no, I got a text message from Abby and the Giants, and it was like, congratulations, you ran a 4:29 and average pace of like 10 and a half minutes. I was so mad already at this like disorganized, lazy shit show, and it was just so dysfunctional. Avenue of the Giants, and from the parking. Oh, which by the way, a buddy of mine, Zach, told me that he ran the half marathon one year. Like I think it was last year maybe, and he said he left 2 hours early and still waited in traffic for over an hour. So like he, I think, just made it on time to start at the beginning with everyone else. So it doesn't really matter what time you go there. You have to, like, you think like most marathons, like Napa was fine. Like, oh, you're gonna pretty much get there on time in that parking. Like it'll be fine. Not Avenue of the Giants. They have the worst parking setup. It is not good, and not good, and very bad. Yeah, it was just like the cherry on top of just an awful vacation that I built up towards. So I tried texting back the organizers, and it said, oh, this is not open like communication or something. So then I got an email saying the same thing. It was like a certificate, like 429 certificate, Joey Moselle, and I finally emailed them, and I just kind of wrote them a sternly worded email back. I kind of went off about like just how that was just how you have people putting on all this work to for this event, and then you're gonna give them a time based on when you finished with the chip, not from when they started. So I had to show them all this evidence of when I started and fought the 429, and then and I kind of went off on them and just said, this is the most disorganized, dysfunctional, lazy, inept marathon prep and execution and lack thereof, and results. Like, we should not have to run the marathon, be totally drained, exhausted, and then have to all text you or email you back when we started. Like that is just incredible. I've never heard of something like that. It is just, I can't even believe it. Like, I was in such shock. Well, anyway, they emailed back with just no words addressing anything I said. That we have to do the work to prove when we started running, because I also had it chipped on my GPS when I started the run on Strava. So 9:03 is up there. I don't know to the second, but it was 9:03. So it could have been 9:03:30, 9:03:03. Could have been 9:03:59, whatever. But and then they changed it to to when I crossed the finish line. And I was zigzagging a lot, so there's no way it was just 26.2, because of people just in the way. So I'm a little dry right now. I need to drink some more water. I don't know what it was exactly. My watch said I ran 26.44 within the markers, the checkpoints. So yeah, so they gave me an Avenue of the Giants official score of chip time of 3 hours, 14 minutes, and 31 seconds. So still under 3:15. like I'd be satisfied with either of those times, considering like running injured and everything else that happened on top of that. Kind of a nightmare marathon. Like, yeah, I was disappointed, but I wasn't. So obviously, I'm gonna be disappointed with not hitting the goal yet, but drove back and got the last little bit of stuff, pretended like I liked this day, and they weren't there. All you know, he has like his kids that are there and that live at the hotel with his like girlfriend, and a bunch of cats, and you can tell there's a bunch of cats from the smell, and like some of the stains on the carpet. So anyway, yeah, that like side note, I guess that hotel's been around, like that building's been around since the 1800s and just remodeled. So I think it was like late 1800s or something like that. So they just keep remodeling it or something. I know it was shut down for a while and then like reopened in maybe the 90s. I don't know. There's like history on it, like, but it's not that important. And so pretty much at that point, I didn't even want to shower. Like, I didn't even want to take the risk. Everything was someone came in and obviously put all the stuff together. And my towel was still up, I guess, if I wanted to shower. But and then right off the bat, as I was like coming in, it says, yes, vacancy. So they weren't as full as they were alluding to throughout the year. I get the feeling like not too many people were vacationing there. So maybe he's trying to make a lot of his money at certain events around the year and during like a 5-month period, I don't know, and then charges outrageous prices. But like with how that went, it's just like, why would I ever want to go back to that? Like, you run it piss poorly and charge us an absurd amount of money. So it was wildly unreasonable. So like if it was like, you know, a little mini fridge and like really good prices, like I would come back and explore a lot more of the Avenue of the Giants, but that is just not gonna happen. Sorry, not sorry. So I just need to get out of there, and I just wanted to come home and make my award meal. So the song I was listening to through the race was Age of Anxiety. Was it Rabbit Hole? That's a good song by what is the band name? They just went on tour with Beck. Arcade Fire. So I put that song on and wanted to let it run a couple times at the beginning. Rabbit Hole goes on forever. That song is so good, and I don't really like that band that much. But they just have like 5 bangers, like super bangers that I really like. Or maybe like only 4 songs I really like, and then 1 song I really like, which is that song. Like one of my favorites actually. They nailed that one, but definitely not one of my favorite bands. My favorite band is The Cure. Just going to see The Cure soon. I'm so excited. Shoreline, going to see them again. And then I just did not want to fuddle with my phone the rest of the marathon. So I literally listened to that song the whole entire way through, because I haven't heard that song in a long time, since Mount Shasta. When I was climbing Shasta, that was so much fun. And on the mountain bike, and damn, I was really vibing to that song. So it kind of was put me in a really good mood in that marathon. So yeah, that was that. I've never listened to a song on repeat for so long. Maybe that Morrissey song when I was climbing Mount St. Helena, from the very bottom to Old Lilietall Road to the top of Mount St. Helena, which is like a 4,000 foot climb. You set up 4,300 feet. I listened to that Morrissey, was that River song, where he was talking about like how him and his grandmother were walking with her 52 new pence Once I saw the river clean, that's the name of the song. That song is so good. It is. There's some really just super dope tracks on that album. Anyway, got home and I was just glad I didn't get fully injured, and I've been recovering a lot here as well. And I guess some of the things I'll go over, I just felt trashed the next day, and I've never gotten so much sleep after, like, so easily after, like, I think anything after a marathon, whatever. I got like 11 hours of sleep that night because I didn't sleep well. I was injured. I didn't have any sleeping pills, and I was just zonked out. And slept really well the 3 nights after marathon, but particularly the first 2. Mostly the first 2. Probably got like another 10 hours sleep the next day as well. Oh my god, I wish I could sleep like that every day. I would be crushing it. I'm such a night owl, it's a problem, and I have to work early now. Anyway, I'm still rehabbing my foot, and 3 days after the marathon, it feels significantly better. I was so sore I could like barely walk. I was like about to teeter over, and I've been doing a lot of research on stuff to order, and so I ordered these. I've been using them a lot, and even the few times I've been ordering, like using these toe separators. You put on your toes to help flatten your feet and like spread your toes with like a wider toe box, because sometimes cramping things and putting pressure on it will cause bone spurs, which I was freaking out that I have. But these toe separators work wonders. And another thing I was researching before the marathon, I was doing a ton of I spent most of my time just researching like bone spur, metatarsal, like tension knots and stuff to see what I could do right off the bat. And I'm always trying to self-diagnose. Because like even if I did have a fracture or if I broke my foot or something, like I'm not gonna go to the doctor like I probably would have back in the day, because I know from all the research I've done from when I got hit by a car on my commute to work on my road bike, and luckily I fell correctly. Thanks Giovanni on teaching me how to fall correctly, and our kick butt training. But so you don't want to like put your wrist out and break your wrist or hand, whatever. But I did break my a rib, which took a really long time to heal from. But I was like, there's no point in going to the doctor. You're just gonna get charged absorbent prices for nothing you can really do about it. You just have to rest until it heals. And that's the same thing with a broken foot. It takes like 4 to 8 weeks to heal. So, and something I'm doing is just I'm really keeping an eye on that. I'm ordering some other stuff to go along with this, like some things you put over the pressure points, like little circle razors. They alleviate pressure just in case, and I need them. It's always good to be prepared, and a true ninja prepares. And inserts for the shoes. They're like, I think they're called Sole. I think it's like SOLE. And well, anyway, what it does is you put these inserts into your shoes, and it's got a high heel arch, like stack height, that kind of like drops to your toes, kind of like that, which they get really good ratings, and people say it helps a lot on that metatarsal pain. So what it does is it alleviates pressure like that, goes down, so that's not pressing up. Because something I've had a problem with my toes, I don't know if it's like a natural curl or what, or like it's like something I need to be more cognizant about. Because like if I'm running like that, like my toes kind of curl like that, and I think that puts pressure up on my like top of my foot, which can create all that stress and damage to the joints. To like if you look at like bone spur metatarsal, like whatever, like just Google it, and so it'll create more bone there, which puts more pressure. It's painful, and I don't know if I have a bone spur or whatever it is. So, but it could just be a little crazy right now, and if I do, it's not that bad. So, but I am, yeah, and there's all sorts of things you can do. If you have any questions, just comment below if you have any pain with that. So, inserts, toe separators. There's another thing you can do that I saw online that works really well if you have pain on the top of your feet. Obviously, eating a vegan diet is gonna help with inflammation, reduce that, make you more fresh, and alleviate pain. But you can retie your shoes differently, and just like skip that that shoelace when you ride over that part of your foot, so that will also alleviate pressure. And I finally ordered a set of these by Caterpie running shoelaces. Apparently, you don't even need to tie your shoes. So I wanted to get something a little longer than what my Adidas Adios 7 has, so they don't give you a lot of room. With the shoelaces are really short on those faster flat shoes, and I'm gonna replace these, see how they work, and hopefully, because when I run with those, they're too tight, and I think they're causing problems. But also when you run, try to keep if you do have a problem like your toes curling like someone like me, is also try to spread your toes like flat while you're running, so you don't have that problem, so you're not putting pressure on the top of your feet. Like, just keep that pressure down, like your toes are naturally supposed to splay out and be flat, so that way they're not bunching your foot up. Because I think I do that for some reason. Sometimes I'm a tense person, and like I'm trying to work on not having so much tension and stress that carries on. It's not helpful. It's kind of like if you're riding a bicycle, if you have a lot of hand pain when you're riding, it's because you're gripping it too hard. Like, you need to like lightly, you're just wasting energy. Kind of hold on to it. You don't want to be like squeezing it and like gripping the shit out of your bike while you're riding, you know, like just like calm, save your energy. It's kind of like at the beginning of a race. If you want to be sitting there at the race line like super tense and like in a racing position, no, you want to be loose. You don't want to be like wasting all your energy like before the race starts. Like, you don't want to waste like a mile of fast-paced energy before you even like run. Like, it's just stupid. You don't be a stupid idiot. Don't do that. So anyway, I'm gonna replace the shoelaces with these Sika. What are they, like seafoam green or something? They're sea green. Seafoam green is like the new. I can't even get. There's not even a. Are you kidding me? Opening for this or a tear piece, unless I'm tripping. Santa Cruz Tallboy, the Santa Cruz Blur has a cool seafoam green I was checking out. What the hecky? Don't make me chin checky. Speaking of stupid idiots, there it is. Finally figured it out. Really stupid idiot proof, or not proof this thing. To be smarter than the packaging. So this is what they look like. You apparently don't have to tie these, so I'm not loving those Adidas Adios 7s, whatever, blah blah. So I'm gonna try these out. Hopefully these help me out with those shoes. These are the 30-inchers. I'm kind of getting the feeling, I mean, you don't have to tie these. I might have to send these back if they don't work, like if they're not long enough. They have 40 inches as well as the highest. But let's see if these work on those bad boys. So doing all sorts of things. I don't want to just like give up on those shoes too early. I want to see if I can use these and get more miles out of those. So I want to at least get some decent life out of them. But I'm gonna run through those on some of my faster runs and my alpha flies before I send them off to the shoe recycling program. And then I'll probably replace them with the Hoka Mach 5s. I should have gotten those originally. So it's making me a little wary, a little hesitant, a little spooked to try more Adidas, but I've heard they make some really good running shoes on some of it, so I did not heed thy warning from some of the other people. I think I saw way more positive reviews on those than not, but I'm gonna save those for threshold work. I'm gonna do like, you know, my faster runs in those Adidas, so yeah. So this is also gonna be something to try in recovering and also staying injury free going forward. Yeah, these aren't very big laces. Another thing I've been doing to recover, because I want to get my next game plan for the Santa Rosa Marathon. I was thinking about canceling that and then just focusing mostly on Sacramento CIM, the California International Marathon. I've just been Zwifting inside, which Zwifting is so wonderful for certain things in particular. Like I like Zwifting period. Like it's so great to have like your indoor training, but you know, your home indoor training, and because I'm not outside on the road with all the elements, putting my foot down, whatever, mountain biking. Like I'm really trying to keep them working a little bit towards recovery, blood circulation, muscle movement, light work on the indoor trainer, while still, you know, chipping away some elevation towards my Tron Neon bike for Zwift to unlock the fastest bike in the game, and in Zwift, the fastest bike in Zwift, and all around, in like each category, and so this has been extremely helpful. I've ridden this 3 times since March 7th, which was Avenue of the Giants Marathon, since I've been back. And what a great recovery tool your indoor trainer can be. Because going running, doing a recovery run after something like that, like elite athletes take like a week off. But what I'm gonna do is I'm really gonna stay off the impact training with running. I'm gonna take like a month to a month and a half off and just ride my bike. But what I'm gonna try to do is just go crazy on the bike. Like my body, my bones, all that have already absorbed enough impact. Like I don't need to work on that right now. I need to heal. Like, and if I got like a stress fracture, it can take a month to a month and a half off to fully heal. So I'm just gonna stay on the bike and gain fitness that way, and I'm gonna go on some big rides. So stay tuned for that. Kind of looking at Skags. There's a lot of elevation out there. It's gonna be a big ride. So I'm gonna spend hours on the bike this next month. More than hours. So, but yeah, I'm gonna try to put some monster weeks in. But I'm kind of working my way up a little bit. I'm really still sore right now. don't want to overdo it right now. I've just been trying to keep the muscles mostly moving, or in the blood circulation. So this has been a great recovery option, and I'm gonna really absorb the work and damage I've done before my next marathon. And then once I do start running again after, so what is it, May 11th right now, all of May I'm not running, so I'm gonna take a month off at minimum. I'm thinking, and just ride. I'm gonna be getting impacted by walking around all day at work anyway. And then once I do start my next marathon build up, I'm gonna be extremely consistent. Like, I'm gonna work my way back up to 40 to 60 mile weeks. I might do like 170 mile week, but I'm not doing any 80s to 100s. Like, I got that itch. I hit that lifetime goal. Like, I just wanted to hit over 100 miles once in my life. Just do it once. Like, even if it was just 100.01, I did 100.07. Like, that was a big accomplishment. And dedicate that painful week. That was one of the hardest things I've ever done. And to Pine Nut. So she was right there with me, and I was pushing for her. You know, the things I will go through for those like I care about, but I care about, you know, the whole world and all the earthlings. All the earthlings are my children. Sounds very narcissistic. I'm kind of being facetious a little bit, but seriously though, she was and still is always going to be on my mind. That dog taught me a lot, and she is in my ninja pack for life. So I will carry our hopes and dreams across the finish line, Pine Nut. You will always be with me on the adventures. And your shrine is going strong and just getting better. So that kind of starting to wrap it up. Though one last thing. So now that I do have the 100-mile week goal set, and I'm not going to put myself through that kind of excruciating pain of like 14.4 miles a day. I just wasn't like, I mean, that's, you know, there are people that can do that have been runners their whole lives, whatever, but I'm not one of them right now. Like, I've only been seriously running since last year, so that was more than I could chew. So I came out injury free, lucky enough, and now I can run freely how I want to. So in these weeks, I'm gonna try to get my body more used to faster times. Gonna do more speed workouts. So if I'm having like a 40 to 60 mile week, like, I'm gonna go out and try to beat my mile PR. I'm gonna try to get it under 5:30. Right now my mile PR is 5:34. It says 5:30 on Strava, but that's because there was a GPS error and it pulled my run a little bit in one of my longer runs I was doing. It was like a 14-mile run I did at Sleepy Hollow. And kind of near Santa Fe area. So that doesn't really count. So I'm gonna try to do more speed work, get my body used to running in the 5-minute mile range. You know, try to go for some PRs on the track, like my mile, and then just extend the run. Try to get a PR on a mile, and then just kind of extend it and just drop my pace a lot, and then and just kind of run how I want. Like, oh, today I'm gonna just take a day off, or like I need to really implement the long run. Is like, that is where it's at for you. Is the long run is so important. I need to get more 18 to 22 mile runs in my training, and probably put some speed workouts in there, like put a 5K at marathon pace towards the end of some of those long runs. I need to it's gonna be nice having some of that weight off of my shoulders that I don't really have. Like, I can just kind of run how I want in my training going forward, and I'm a little excited about that. Like, I'm not like, oh, I want to get, like, I want to run 100 miles in a week, or like I have always like weird little goals that I'll try to like accomplish. And I think for next marathon build, once I start getting back into it, into running again, is I'm going to be extremely consistent. Probably trying to average 40 to 60 mile weeks around the 50-mile range, so while still cycling. And I'm excited to just kind of go for some PRs, maybe even like maybe a 5K PR as well would be kind of fun. So I'm looking forward to some more speed drills, and not as many zone 1, 2, and 3, which, I mean, I'll hit like zone 1 through 3 in like a single run. A lot of people do that. So oh yeah, like I was saying, I'm kind of jumping back and forth. Elite marathoners take a week off after the marathon, from what I've read, what I've heard online. So recovery, you need to recover, but that's why it's been nice having a cross train. So doing low impact stuff like swimming, cycling are really good if you just have to do something, maybe some brisk walking, but get a bike. Way more fun, way more adventurous, like way faster. It's just like cycling is the best. And Yaomushi Pedal anime, seriously one of the greatest animes of all time. And so anyway, back to that. Just I forgot to mention that part. Recovery. A lot of people need to recover for longer than they do from running. But I'm excited to run free and have less stress and tension in my next marathon build. So I think I covered everything in the 2023 Avenue of the Giants marathon experience, and going forward, I've learned some lessons, and will try to implement what I've learned and what my next plan of attack is. So keep running rad, and see you in the next one. Peace.